Welcome to this edition of the Awakening Women podcast. This episode, we're talking a bit about trauma. And this is quite hilarious because I discovered that Patricia Arquette has followed me for a while. I noticed that she liked one of my posts a while back, and she liked this one as well. If you don't know who she is, she's an actress. If you don't know who she is, then maybe you haven't seen any of her movies or whatever, but I certainly have, and so I recognized it right away, and it does appear to be authentically her account. So if that doesn't help you to maybe think there's something to what I'm about to share, then I don't know what is, honestly. So I don't know if you've noticed, but in this space there is a lot of chitter chatter about trauma and all of these trauma coaches and trauma mentors and narcissistic abuse coaches and somatic practitioners and all these things. Like, you can get certified within weeks and call yourself a somatic trauma practitioner. Like, you have to do your due diligence, and there's a lot of noise out there. Anybody can set up an account on Instagram and say they're a somatic trauma practitioner or coach and start regurgitating things that they've heard from other people online, and you could be reading that and taking it to be truth. This is the problem with social media. Anybody can say anything. And I will say I've been very conscious of this and very careful about the things that I say and the things that I share, that I'm not spouting facts or, putting stuff like, oh, this is a trauma response, without maybe having some criteria for where this came from. Like, maybe it came from a well-known, reputable trauma expert who has the training credentials and experience around trauma. So one of the main ones that always comes to mind is Peter Levine. And I've done a couple of his courses, like self-study courses on trauma. He would be one that I would say, yeah, go check his stuff out. He knows what he's talking about. And so sometimes people are just throwing this stuff back out, or someone might have put something out there and then it becomes a reel and then it becomes catchy and then everybody's talking about it. So not every dysfunctional behavior we have is a trauma response. Some things are habits, self-identity, or stem from how our mothers operated as women. Our fathers impact us as well, but we look to our mothers for how to do things. Some things are actually about abuse and trauma we've experienced, but not always. Trauma has become a buzzword. All trauma coaches out here with their "did you know" trying to convince a partner who is hurting you to start treating you better as a trauma response posts, you've probably heard that one before. Everything is a trauma response these days, according to these Instagram experts. I'm careful about using the word or flippantly coining things a trauma response unless it's from my own experience or cited from an actual trauma expert with credentials and a lot of experience working with trauma. When you want to understand if trauma plays a role in your pain, go to the established experts who specialize in this area. So just a side note, look for someone who's honestly like someone that's older, like Gabor Mate. He's got a lot of experience and wisdom. That would be another source I would say to go to if you're really wanting to understand trauma. Something I have learned from my own study is that trauma is healed in the present, being here now and working with what is here in each moment, being embodied and present in the now, creating new, healthier experiences and supportive relationships heals trauma. That, I believe, was not word for word verbatim, but that was something I learned when I took the Peter Levine course. And, just being more in the present and being in your body and being aware of what's going on. And it stuck with me, the part about creating new healing experiences to heal the past. So this is why we need to clean up our lives and make sure we are putting ourselves in positions to have healing experiences and close connections with healthier people to heal from the past. So if we do this in isolation, we're going to stay stuck in our traumatized state if we are traumatized. So this is where you can come out of one of these relationships and have trauma. Most definitely. If you've experienced abuse or a lot of abuse in your life, you've got trauma. Yes. And sometimes we have to learn to live with that. There's a lot of women that I've worked with that are like, just give me the formula already. I'm stuck. There's something stuck. I'm holding on to something. I've got a tight lid on something. And they're trying to do their way into happiness. And it doesn't work that way. We have to be here now, be in our bodies, be present, be grateful, be appreciative. This isn't about bypassing pain, but we can only mull in our pain for so long. We have to be able to move on and move forward with it. We can have it and move forward anyways. We can have it and still experience joy and see gratitude and see love and see appreciation and see abundance everywhere. We can have what happened to us in the past and still try again and experience new love, new experiences without needing to know what's going to happen next, right? When we have been through something traumatic or very earth-shattering, it does make us afraid to experience it again. And so then we're like, oh, I need to get this trauma out. No, it's about let's heal in the now. Let's grow in the now. Let's use this as our medicine right now to heal us. This is how we heal. And I saw someone post, I can't remember if it was in my ETC group or my free group, but someone said, I just want to get to healed. It's taking so long. And this is a very common one. You cannot go at it from that perspective because healing isn't about time. It's about transformation. So I've had women come into my programs and have immense shifts, immense healing, and just radical paradigm shifts where they are not the same person when they're coming out of the program. And sometimes they have come into it believing that this is going to take a long time. I have a lot of work to do. I have a lot of stuff to work through. I'm a mess. And yet they come in and they do the work and they can't believe how far they've come. So it's really important that we're operating from the now, being in the now, finding peace despite what we've been through. Our trauma can become our self-identity and keep us in victim consciousness. And this is why it's said that those who've experienced true trauma have a greater chance of developing a host of health problems later in life. Getting out of victim identity is essential to create real change. And so I'm not discounting that trauma exists. And if we have unprocessed trauma, that it's going to show up in other areas of our life, our body, our mental health, and maybe even in the patterns that we continue to find ourselves in with our relationships. But we don't need to get to some elusive healed state with our trauma in order to find joy in the now. You don't need to heal all of that before you consider, if you're out of a relationship, to consider dating or having someone in your life again. You don't have to do that, but you can do things differently. You can choose new ways of doing things that you have never done before so that you have a different experience. And you can heal through those experiences. And so I encourage you to look at this and ask yourself, what is the benefit of me thinking I have some kind of trauma I need to heal before I can do XYZ? I need to heal before I can do XYZ. What we actually need to do is be in our bodies, be aware of what's going on, but not let our emotions run us into the ditch. And it's not about not having the emotions. It's about what we do with them. So I can feel sad, but I can also choose to not just stay in bed and eat Cheetos and rot in bed all day. Maybe some days somebody needs that. I know for me, if I do that, it doesn't feel good. I've never done a whole day just doing nothing, but to take a few hours, yes. To take a little bit of time to just do what you need to do to whatever it is you need to do. Like they call it bed rotting. I find that quite hilarious because that's what it feels like. If you sit there just scrolling and doing nothing other than that, you're not going to feel very good, guaranteed. But it's what you're doing with the beliefs, the thoughts, and the emotions. So you probably also heard a lot about, there's cognitive behavioral therapy. That is a modality I practiced. I also practiced emotionally focused therapy as a therapist. And I still bring all that stuff into my work and my coaching because emotional literacy, emotional attunement, emotional management is key. If you just let things that have happened to you, let you just react all over the place and you just become reactive to everything, then you're not mastered and you're not going to be able to make change from that place. Most definitely. So if you're feeling like you have no control over your emotions or your state or how you feel, and you're saying to yourself, I need to get to the root of what this is, you're actually avoiding yourself. Most women are avoiding themselves. The type A, high achieving women that I work with are very much in their heads. They come into the program and they're like, all right, I need a checklist. I need you to organize this in such a way so I know every minute I'm in this program, I'm getting every dollar out of it. You know, I'm not saying they say it this way, but it's like the thinking. I need to make sure I do everything perfectly right. I need to make sure I don't miss a single thing. And I've had this with quite a few women, okay? Quite a few women, because I've worked with a lot of women, and there are just these types where they're like, there's a PDF missing in module 2.4 lesson 5. It refers to a PDF and there's no PDF. Well, maybe it's been changed into just text inside the program itself. Or it might be because some of the stuff I've made in my program was recorded 6 years ago and I've adjusted things, or maybe I've removed a PDF and it's been talked about somewhere else in the program. So granted, there are some who are like, oh gosh, I need to find this PDF. Where's the PDF? But it's, you know, sometimes it's been that, oh, I need to re-upload it because I've done so many versions of this program over the years. But it's just interesting to see that. Like, obviously, if something obvious is missing, then yeah, that makes sense. But the type A's, they want check, 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 perfection. I've done it perfectly. I've done it well. I've got every dollar's worth. I've got every minute out of this program that I could extract from it. Rather than going, all right, what have I actually gotten out of this so far? Because the women that I speak to who have done the program can go on and on about how far they've come in a very short period of time. And so the reason why I'm sharing this is to really illustrate the point of this. It doesn't have to take a long time to create change, and you don't have to sit there and mull over your trauma and do hip circles and weird somatic body movements if you don't want to do that. Maybe you do want to do that. Or maybe you're someone that likes to sit in stillness and connect with yourself. Or you dance, or you walk, or you exercise, or whatever it might be that you do. I love to do guided self-hypnosis tracks and things that reprogram my mind. But when you see some of the stuff that's out there for trauma, I don't know, for me, my first feeling is like, do we really need to do that? Like, seriously? Is that really what it takes to heal trauma? But I encourage you to look at like where you're limiting yourself with this belief that I need to heal from this trauma. I have trauma, I have trauma, I have trauma. They did this to me. They did that to me. Look what they've done now. And that's you living in victim mentality. We cannot move on and be free when we are in that state. I have trauma. I have things to heal. I'm a mess. I've got a long way to go. Healing is taking a long time. Right? You think about those phrases and the energy they have attached to them. Is that expansive energy? Is that being open to any possibility? Is that being open to a radical healing shift that's right around the corner for you, with just one new shift in awareness or a new thing being said in just a way that it clicks and you click into high gear and you're like, wow, okay, there is no going back from here. So really, you could end up spending years and years and years in therapy, not getting anywhere, feeling like it's going to take a long time because it's not actually doing anything for you. I don't think it works for everyone, and you need to have the right kind of person, the right kind of therapist for you. Like if you're going every week to just vent and you're not getting anywhere, then you're not with the right therapist. If you're not moving forward every week and it's not moving you in a new direction, then the therapist is likely not for you and you're just wasting your time. But what you really might need is coaching, mentoring, guidance. someone that really gets it. I don't know how many times I've had women say like, wow, going through the program, like, you really get this stuff. Yes, I do. And so sometimes you need to experience that and feel like, oh my God, it's not just me. Wow, others have experienced this. Other women have experienced this. And you can let go of a whole bunch of quote unquote trauma just through that alone. And you go, holy, it's not me. So I encourage you to just challenge where you are identifying to this trauma, where it is in your identity, that it's part of who you are now, and that you believe that there's nothing you can do about it, or that it's going to take a long time. And I encourage you to open up to the possibility that that may not be true, that your next healing breakthrough could be just around the corner, enough for you to be able to move the needle forward and experience more peace and joy now. So if you are in a place where you are ready and you don't want 2025 to be another year that goes by where you're doing the same thing, experiencing the same situation in your relationship and in your body and with your health, all of it, then I invite you to book a call with me. I'm doing a series of calls over the next while, probably until the new year. We'll see if I continue after that. But what I'm doing is hopping on calls with women who are ready. You're entrepreneurial, you're a career woman, you have your own income, you feel like you're successful in a lot of other areas of your life, but your relationship is a dumpster fire. It's not going well, it's a mess, and it is the bottleneck for your next level of success, health, healing, financial wealth, all of it, because it is holding you back. You're not able to step into your greatness when you're having someone in your life that's messing with your head and causing you to get into your emotions and feel stuck in them. So if you are ready to step into that, then book a call with me. This isn't for everyone. It's for those who are truly serious about changing their lives and you want that next level and you want that mentorship, that high level mentorship to change everything. You know, because when you work on one area, it creates a ripple effect in every area. And so it's not just about coming in and let's just focus on the relationship. No, the focus is actually on you. How can you show up as a more powerful version of you in your work, in your career, with your children? How can you create a new legacy for your children? Be a better mother. Help your children learn better ways to go through life as they're watching you do the same. What do you want to create in your life in the next year, in 2025? What do you want? And if you don't know what you want, then ask yourself what you don't want and then flip that into want. Because when I get on a call with you, I'm going to ask you this anyway. So maybe come prepared with that. What do you want? What are like 3 things you want in 2025? And most women are like, I have no clue what I want. So that's why I say you start with what you don't want and then you flip it into a want. All right, so that's what I have for you in this episode. Just a very casual chat on what I see online that really annoys me. It's hard because I have a love-hate relationship with social media. You know, I have a fairly large following of women on my Instagram, but I don't always love the feeling like I have to come up with new content that's going to be loved by the algorithm, because I could literally have a post that like has 200,000 likes and thousands of shares, and then one will get like 20 likes. And it's usually if I'm posting about your healing, your transformation, here's what you need to do. Those are like womp womp. They're like, I prefer to read about the narcissist. I prefer to read about toxic men. And I just get kind of tired of talking about that stuff. I've done it enough on this podcast. So it's just funny how it works. But I don't do a lot of scrolling on Instagram or social media, period. But it's just sometimes these things pop up. Even when I'm not following anyone on my business account, it gets these recommended videos that pop up. And the one that I was referencing today in this post of, oh, did you know that continually trying to get your partner to treat you better while they're hurting you is a trauma response? Okay, where did you ever hear that? Do you have somewhere that you can say that, yeah, that, like, it's just gotten so ridiculous. It's like everything is a trauma response. Can we all just be human too? Like, it's that as well. Like, let's keep true trauma and PTSD that is impacting your ability to function. If you are not able to function and you're having suicidal thoughts and you can't take care of yourself, you can't, you're being abusive to your children, or then go get intensive therapy and trauma therapy. Yes. I'm not saying not to get the help you need. I'm just saying let's change the narrative on that everything is a trauma response. Some of it is just a response. Some of it is just habit. Some of it is just past experience that we're trying to not repeat in the now. And we can change these things through rewiring our unconscious mind, through moving our attention, through body awareness, being aware of what you're feeling moment to moment, and having the right support. Absolutely. It's hard to heal through painful circumstances in isolation. All right. I'll wrap up this episode. I've been going on for over 20 minutes now. So that's what I have to say. Hopefully that some part of this spoke to you and helped you today. And I'll chat with you in the next one. Bye for now.